The sky is the limit, they say. Is it? I ask. Born in the township to a single immigrant mother that had to fight for absolutely everything. Fight to get out of an economically and physically, emotionally abusive relationship. Fight to be seen, fight to be heard, fight to own property, and yes, fight to belong. My mother was constantly urged to try for a boy. Try Helen for a boy. After 6 attempts, she resigned to the fact that her house is going to be filled with 7 amazing girls, my sisters and I. The sky is the limit, she would continuously tell my sisters and I. Work hard, be diligent. Don't let anyone tell you what you can or cannot do, because you are enough. Armed with my mother's superpower of resilience, her work ethic, my grandparents' social consciousness, I found myself on the streets of Johannesburg, raising my own family. It is then in Johannesburg in 2009, on one sad evening, that I suddenly received a call. My older sister had lost her life. What a sad day, I cried out. Unexpectedly, I cried out. That single incident changed my trajectory. I questioned myself. I remember my grandparents saying, a life worth living is a life of service. My mother, the sky is the limit. I went through introspection. I wasn't neither reaching for the sky, nor was I living a life of service. Hence, Ubuntu Everest, summits with a purpose. This became my personal journey to find my own purpose, my journey to change my world one step at a time and change the narrative for the next generation of Africans. This journey led me to Nepal, to the highest mountain in the world, Mount Everest. It was not by any means an easy journey. It was one that was littered with failing forward, with doubts, but one that has been so fulfilling and humbling. It is a journey that was following in the footsteps of Sir Hilary and Tanzeng Norgay, who summited the mountain in 1953, knowing in my head that I am enough, enough to step on top of the world like anybody else. Traditional mountaineers looked at me and thought my gender, my color, may be an obstacle for the task at hand, but I knew deep inside that I was enough. Enough to step on top of the world. In 2014, my first Everest expedition was brought to a halt when 16 Sherpas died in the Khumbu icefall. Although this was a sad reality of the expedition, it helped me remember the fact that life is fragile. Today I have, but tomorrow is not guaranteed. That fateful expedition ended up in over 60,000 students benefiting from the failed expedition. In 2015, with optimism, I found myself back on the mountain to attempt again. In the Khumbu icefall above, my Sherpa and I were on a glacier when it suddenly shook us like leaves on a windy day. I remember the earthquake that killed over 9,000 people in Nepal, and the expedition was halted. I came back home to people saying, you know, you tried, but maybe you're not just good enough for it. Maybe you are not meant to be. But deep down, I knew that I was enough. My sense of resilience and optimism found me back on the mountain in 2017. On the South Summit, so close and yet so far, the expedition came to a halt. Left for dead in the death zone, frostbitten, heartbroken, I came back home to more people saying, you tried. And maybe, in my head I wondered, the naysayers were right. Were they? Was I, after all, not good enough? In 2019, this journey continued as I went back on Everest. And for the first time on that fateful morning, the 16th of May, I found myself on top of the world with my fist up and thinking about my mother, saying, the sky is the limit, and how wrong she was. I screamed inside in silence to say, Mama, I made it, but the skies are not the limit, because the clouds beneath me were dancing as if to take in that moment as much as I was. Humbled by this experience, I appreciated and continue to do so the many African women that have made it possible for me to be here. Women like my grandmother, Susanna Mukandi Ndahabiyambere. Women like my mother, my aunties, and other women on whose shoulders I've been able to do the small bit that I've been able to do for the next generation. And I pray that through my journey, through my experience, I'm able to inspire other African women coming after me to do more, to do better, to realize that after all, we are uniquely extraordinary, and being ordinary is a choice. My name is Saray Khumalo. I am the first Black African woman to summit Mount Everest. My plan is to climb the 7 highest peaks on 7 continents, ski to the North Pole and the South Pole. I am Saray Khumalo, and I am a proud African woman.